listening to the Scoop Slam Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Scoop Slam Podcast. We're back once again with another review. We're going to be talking Royal Rumble, the fallout, and the Vince allegations. We're going to hit all that in one episode, so it might be a little longer than normal, but it's been too long. We're trying to get back in the saddle here once again. And before we get too far into anything, he is ready to be on the mic. He's the historian of the Scoop Slam Podcast. And if you were drowning, he'd throw you both ends of the rope. It's Ryan.
Yo, Micah. Kind of a slow news week, huh, buddy?
You sure about that?
Huh? Oh, a couple things happened, right?
Just a few.
Okay, all right.
Some stuff that made front page New York Times, some stuff that trends on Twitter for a couple days, some stuff that probably should have trended for a little longer, but I reckon we'll get to all that and more, because we were live for Royal Rumble, and in living color, we were in Tampa, Florida. I wish we were in Birmingham, Alabama this past Friday, but obviously we were not. But we've got a lot to talk about. We wanted to get to it this week. Some of that's my fault. I went to Orlando this past weekend and just overall tired from all the travel, still having to work. So stuff just didn't line up. But we're here once again, as always, and we're ready to break everything down. Scoop and slam the Royal Rumble. And I'm going to let Ryan vent about the aftermath of the Royal Rumble. But before we get too far into anything, I do want to say the opening thing that I should lead with that we didn't talk about, because last week, the episode we recorded, this happened legitimately the day after we recorded, so I didn't get to put it in there. But I'm sure everyone has heard about it. I could go into depth on it, but I feel like it's probably best for us to maybe wait until some more news comes out. I don't want anybody to think, and if they do, I'll take the flack for it because I'm the one that, I guess, made this call. With everything going on with surrounding the Vince McMahon news, it's a horrible situation that we probably don't know all about. And so I don't want people to think we're blowing over anything. I don't personally feel comfortable getting too in depth with it because it is a situation that might be hard to address for some, hard to read. I encourage you to do your own research, read the things that have come out, read the court documents, all that good stuff. And you know, this isn't a situation that anyone should sweep under the rug or try to get away from because it is a serious matter. But obviously, Vince McMahon has been accused of sex trafficking, rape, using his power in the company to do things to certain individuals, that being Janelle Grant and probably some unnamed women, to use them sexually for his gain, which involves other top officials and maybe Brock Lesnar, as the court documents show. But as I talked about with you earlier, and I know I've been kind of talking for a while, so, you know, I'll let you say what you think about it too. But this is still a developing news story, and I'm not a judge. Personally, I feel like he is guilty. This is, to me, too specific to be fake, and I know it sucks because that's a guy that, you know, has been, I won't say an inspiration, but a pivotal part of our childhood and our fandom.
Bro, but he's the Walt Disney of wrestling.
Yeah. And so to see all this come out, it's really awful. I don't want anybody to think that we are trying to cover this up because we're not at all.
No, but there's still stuff coming out, and there's still news that's being broken on the daily. So, I mean, whether you think he's guilty or not guilty, the public perception of Vince McMahon is I don't think it'll ever recover. Like people are calling him Harvey Weinstein. Like he's not gonna escape this. His reputation is ruined. He'll probably get scrubbed from future broadcasts. We'll probably never see Vince on television ever again. And potentially Brock Lesnar. We'll probably never see him on television again. So it's
Yeah.
just it's a crazy situation. All this happened too, right the day after we recorded.
Yeah, and so that's what we were gonna do, a more in-depth segment about it, but then I got to thinking, I try my best for us to not be an explicit podcast, and a lot of that stuff is sensitive, and
Oof, yeah.
that's why I wanted to say, go read the document if you can. You really understand the severity of the claims and just the horrible nature of what happened.
But this was the same thing that the allegations was the same thing that happened a couple years ago when he stepped down the first time, right? That's the reason he stepped down.
Well, I don't think that it was this specific, but it
Yeah,
pertained to this. He was paying people off using company money to sign NDAs.
gotcha. And then what was it last year? He forced his way back into the company. So I mean, this story was bound to break any day now, and
Yeah.
it just happened to break right before one of the biggest events that they've ever put out. At least non-WrestleMania event. I think this was their biggest gate of all time.
Yeah.
And it just there was kind of like a dark cloud over the weekend. Like I think it did have something to do with me not enjoying Rumble. Like I mean I did enjoy Rumble, but it felt like there was something. It was a dark cloud over the event, of lack of a better term. You know what I
Yeah.
mean, Micah? Did it kind of feel like that? You?
It definitely was a hit to my excitement because, like, I want to say it came out Wednesday. And so Thursday, I started feeling a little better about it, Friday, so into the weekend. But it did just, I guess stuff like that takes you out of what makes wrestling enjoyable. Is we watch wrestling to get away from, just the bull crap that happens in everyday life. And then when you see a guy like Vince, who, like him or not, he was a pivotal part of the Attitude Era. I mean, like you said, Walt Disney of professional wrestling, and he's been a character on TV. So anytime you see, I don't want to call him a hero, I guess, but somebody that you follow, it turns out behind the scenes they're a horrible, warped person. Uh, that just kind of sucks. And so it did leave a bad taste in my mouth going to the event. But uh my biggest takeaway from it, and like I said, we'll move on to other stuff. Uh Nothing is gonna happen to Vince. At the end of the day, he'll be scrubbed from WWE. He probably will never be on TV again, and his reputation will be shot, which for the most part it pretty much has been anyway since the NDAs came out. But it's not like he's going to go to jail. And that's what I put out on Twitter. I mean, he's rich, he's famous, and he's old. He's going to pay the girl off, and that'll be the end of it. They'll settle out of court, and then he'll go back to doing whatever. He'll spend out his days in his apartment in Connecticut or in Florida or wherever he wishes, because that's how the system works for people with money.
What do you think if more people join in on the lawsuit, like more people that sign NDAs, they come forward and say that he did something illegal to them? You think if more people join in, then he would face charges for all these did?
I could see it because then that's multiple people you have to settle out of court with. So I don't
John,
know.
Johnny Ace, did you see that story that Johnny Ace is saying that he was a victim too?
Yeah, he was saying that he Wasn't he saying that like he wasn't doing it, but Vince forced him to, or something like that?
Yeah, yeah. He, I it's crazy, man, because Johnny Ace is like what 6'5", 200 something pounds, and Vince McMahon made him do all those heinous things when he has a wife, and he has a loving wife that I think wasn't she going through like chemotherapy at the time. All this stuff happened. I'm trying to keep it PG, Mike.
Yeah. Yes. Was cheating on his wife, and she had cancer and was going through chemotherapy. Like,
Yeah,
I know Vince is a piece of crap, but I think that's 1A, 1B. Uh,
yeah,
that's low.
yeah.
But I don't know. Like I said, it's a developing story.
Well,
Um,
one more thing, Micah. Do you think anybody else anybody else knew, like Triple H or Stephanie? Maybe that's the reason Stephanie stepped away. You think?
well, they led the investigation and they never interviewed her. That's what she said. But I don't know. The thing about it is people are outraged with Triple H for they claim that he knew. And I don't know. I wasn't there. What I do know is that Triple H voted no on the board to bring him back. Same with Stephanie.
And Nick Khan did
So,
too.
exactly. So I feel like if they voted no, that's all they could do. And I don't want to burst anyone's bubble because what I'm about to say is a horrible situation. And this whole thing is if they voted no and he still took power, there was nothing those people could do in that situation to do anything about it. Like people were pissed at Triple H or just anybody, or basically they were pissed at the WWE for not doing anything about it. He was the owner of the company. Like he literally forced himself back in there anyways. If I went up to I don't know, I mean any small time business and said, "Hey, the owner of this place uh sexually assaulted me." He can just fire me and get away with it as long as the police don't get involved. That's how that works. So if Triple H and Stephanie and Nick Khan voted no on the board, then they did their part, I feel like. Now, if they didn't interview Janelle Grant, that was wrong. But I'm not going to say they knew or they didn't because nobody truly knows that except for the people involved. We have seen before the Sean Ross Sapps, the Dave Meltzers, the people like that, they don't know. There's
But
information that they don't have access to. So even if they say something, who knows if it's the truth?
but Micah, if it does come out that Triple H did know, Triple H is as good as gone too, right?
Yeah, I
That
feel like yeah.
so where does that I and if Triple H knew, then all the guys around him had to know. Maybe a Nick Khan, maybe he knew, maybe a Bruce Pritchard knew. This is this is the kind of thing that could sink the company.
Yeah. Especially like hypothetically, Triple H knows Triple H gets canned. Now who gets the book? Sean? Well, if Triple H knew, did Sean know? Well, if Sean
Yeah.
isn't there to get the book, I mean, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. We can talk about it only so much, and we'll have to keep coming back to it because every week something new is going to come out. But until something is said in the court of law, I'm choosing not to believe Sean Ross Sapp and Dave Meltzer and sources like that, personally.
Yeah. Yeah, like they know.
Because they didn't know CM Punk was returning. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, they feed information to the sheet writers when they want to. And if they want to keep them in the dark with major situations, they're going to keep them in the dark.
Exactly. Because let's not. I mean, in a court of law, you literally have to take an oath that you tell the truth.
Yeah.
Um, you know, Joe Schmo, who works on the production crew, might say, "Well, hey, I heard that." Like, do they really know? We don't know. So unless it's coming from a Forbes or something like that, I'm
E-
not gonna
even
touch it.
then, even then, I don't know if I trust Forbes all the way too, because they got a lot of wannabe journalists that write for them. But Micah, look, if you're Triple H or a Nick Khan and Sean Ross Sapp calls you and asks for a comment, like why would I care about these guys? I'm not telling them anything. It's not like this
Yeah.
is CNN News that's calling them or the Wall Street Journal. This is Sean Sapp and his basement dwellers paying $10 a month uh, for speculations and their opinions. Like, come on, man, be for real.
And I'm not saying that to like. I mean,
Yeah, no
somebody's got to be.
disrespect. No disrespect, but come on.
Somebody's got to do wrestling reporting, and Sean Ross Sapp is most of the time correct. But just some situations, especially something like this is too deep of a subject to speculate.
Yeah, and Sean Ross Sapp stinks. I hate him. Well, I'm not gonna say hate him. I just don't like his reporting style. Because when you
Yeah.
call him out on something that he said that was wrong, he defends it to death. Will not admit that he was wrong.
You don't hate the person, you just hate the
I hate what
uh
he reports on. That's what I hate.
yeah.
I hate his reporting style.
Because look,
No
we call a
disrespect.
spade we call a spade, and if we're wrong, we're wrong.
Yeah.
Such as some of the Royal Rumble surprises that we had predicted.
Did we
And
get any? I don't think we
I
got
don't
any.
think so.
Oh,
But well, no, I think we got Naomi, but I think I said something about Sasha, a couple others. But
yeah.
anyways, once again, to put a close on that part of the episode, do your own research, read the court documents, formulate your own opinion, um, and we'll see. We'll keep touching on it because it's gonna keep coming back up because obviously developing story.
Yeah.
Anyways,
It's still a fluid story, so we're still getting news.
yeah. And we'll keep reporting on it as it comes out, as we always do. Well, I say reporting, we more just review. But anyways, last Saturday, January 27th, was the Royal Rumble. And not last
Ooh.
Saturday, the Saturday before last was the Royal Rumble in St. Petersburg. And like I said, we were there live in attendance for it. You went back and watched the event. I have not. So all of my reactions are going to be live and what I remember seeing
Okay.
there in person. You can probably correct me on a couple things, but I thought that dynamic would be interesting. To start us off, Ryan, what did you think? Before the event with all those people there, how was getting in, stuff like that?
Yeah, it was fine. There was a long wait outside to get in the building, but once we got in there, people were buzzing. We got to see Titus O'Neil, got a little picture with Titus. So all in all, it was good getting in the arena. However, the stadium had terrible, terrible reception, Micah. I don't know if you had service, but I had no service throughout the whole event, which, you know what, looking back, I think that was a good thing because I wasn't glued to my phone throughout the whole event. But it was kind of annoying trying to send stuff out or call people because you couldn't do that in the arena. But yeah, man, it was a enjoyable experience getting in, going to get snacks, stuff like that, waiting an hour for the pre-show to start, and then the pre-show started and then took another hour. But yeah, I can't complain about the early happenings of Rumble too much. What about you?
Well, first off, they didn't even show the pre-show live in the arena, which that kind of, yeah.
Yeah,
Um, But overall, yeah, I thought everything went smooth. The wait was obviously long, but I expected that when you have 45,000 people roughly trying to get into an arena at the same time. Titus was cool. He has giant hands.
Yes, catcher mitts for hands.
Yeah. But overall, I thought the setup was nice, but I gotta say,
Yeah.
I don't think they should go back to baseball stadiums.
Why's that?
It was just it was hard to tell where your seat was. It
Yeah.
was kind of weird because there was like gaps at the back, and if somebody was in the outfield, they were really far. And I don't know.
Yeah.
Personally, I feel like basketball arenas or football arenas is probably the way to go.
But
Baseball's
if you,
weird for wrestling.
but if you're hot though, Micah, and you can put more than 18, 20,000 people in an arena, why wouldn't you book a slightly bigger arena?
Well, what if they just did a football field?
Well, that'd be too big, Micah. It'd be like 70,000 people. I mean, you don't want empty seats now, do you?
You don't think they could have put 60 in like Camping World Stadium or the Bucks Stadium? That might be
I guess
Camping
they
World Stadium.
yes, but still though, I don't see it as a I don't think it was that bad of a layout per se. I mean, it did kind of look weird being in there, but on TV it looked pretty good.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I saw some clips and stuff. It was just kind of odd because like all the seats were, or most of the seats weren't facing the entrance ramp, and so
Yeah,
in the
we were
Royal
behind,
Rumble,
we were
that's kind
behind
of
the
hard.
we were behind the entrance ramp.
Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see where they go with it in the future, but
And
that
and
was just
and,
my thoughts.
and you know, Micah, this bugged me. One other nitpick bugged me, but there was no like when the countdown was happening, they would show the clock, yeah, but they wouldn't show the number, like what number we were on the Titantron or the big LED screen they had above the ring or the whatever they had over there. The other big old screen near the end of the arena. You know what I mean, man? They didn't have the number of the entrant that was coming out.
Yeah, because we were sitting there counting during the men's rumble because in the women's rumble we didn't, and then we were like, well, who the crap is, how far in are we?
But when I went back and watched, they had the number like the type the LED screen they have behind the guys when they enter.
Yeah.
Okay, so the number was right there. It wasn't visible to us because we were facing away from that, but it was visible to the people at home watching the match, which I mean kind of bugged me for as a live viewer there in the stadium. But other than that,
Yeah. I mean, they could have put a little thing up in the corner like they used to, but I digress. But anyways, they opened up the Royal Rumble for 2024 with the Women's Royal Rumble. For the pay-per-views, we do our classic format. We're going to scoop it, we're going to slam it. Scoops are our positive thoughts, slams are our negative thoughts. So, Ryan, for the Women's Royal Rumble, I'll let you start us off with the scoops.
Pat McAfee, thank God you came back, man. You were very, very much missed. He's back, Micah. I know you didn't watch the pay per view back, but Pat McAfee was hilarious on this broadcast. He brought out another side of Cole. Graves was cracking me up too. They play off each other well. And Pat McAfee was the MVP of the night, him and R-Truth. But yeah, first scoop of the night, Pat being back. He got a huge reception in the stadium. I came to my feet when I heard that music. Micah, how you feeling about Pat McAfee being back?
It definitely helps out, especially with the sore absence of Kevin Patrick.
Oh yeah,
Um
yeah. Gonna miss him. Gonna miss that guy.
but Pat adds a big time feel, I guess. I mean, the guy's got his own show on ESPN. He's literally everywhere, College Game Day, Super Bowl coverage, all that good stuff. And there's people that watch the Pat McAfee show that don't like wrestling. So it's just adding more eyes to the product. And he's probably one of the most entertaining commentators of the last 10 years because he has personality that's not. He's not a Michael Cole copy, if that makes sense. Not knocking Cole, but nobody
But
likes a duplicate.
he's untapped something in Michael Cole though. Like when they're together, Michael Cole was on a different level. Like it's just he feeds off Pat. And Pat doesn't even need to do this. Pat signed a $1 million deal with ESPN. He doesn't need to do this. He's doing this because he loves it. And his
Yeah.
energy is infectious when he's on the screen. Like if you ever go back and watch this Rumble, you'll see what I mean.
I'm sure I will eventually. I kind of wanted to keep that lens, I guess, of just being there live and having that perspective. For my first scoop of the night, personally, it was the second entrant of the night, Naomi's return. She got a huge pop, and I've got to admit in the past that I may have not been the biggest Naomi fan.
You turn to me and say, "Well, who is this?"
Well, I didn't know her theme, and it went all dark, and I was like, "Oh, I don't know who this is." But
Well,
to be fair,
it?
we'll talk about how memorable the themes are.
I was just about to say that. Well, I mean, we looked at each other a lot throughout this event asking, "Who is this?"
Yeah, especially during the women's rumble.
Yeah.
But she got an insane reaction because it was the first, like, everybody was just ready to go and ready to see something crazy, especially because it was the start of the show. And what a better way to do that than a return in the first two people.
Yeah, people love to see returns in the Rumble. It's always going to get a cheap pop in the Rumble. I don't care if Doink the Clown comes out for an entrant. He's going to get a big pop in the Rumble.
Yeah. And ultimately, Naomi's a good building piece for the women's division. Do they necessarily need her right now? No. But it's kind of getting to the point where it's like, do we let her go to AEW? Do we keep her here and just keep stacking our, keep adding fuel to the fire? Because that's the stage that WWE's in right now. They're so hot, they don't need a CM Punk. They don't need a Randy Orton. They don't need a Naomi. Like, ultimately. But they have them. And so it just, keeps adding on and adding on. And it's another thing that they can stop AEW from getting. Ultimately, that's the goal.
Yeah, I agree. It's not a bad name to have in your division. I don't think her main. Well, I think her main event days are pretty much behind her. She'll maybe be in the main event match here and there, maybe have a one-off match with like a Charlotte or a Becky or somebody like that. But I don't see Naomi being the future of this division at all. But it's a nice little name to have around. It's like kind of like a Natalia. I mean, you don't really need Natalia at this stage. But if you got Natalia, okay, she can tag team with somebody. She can have a match on Raw or SmackDown. She can go down to the PC, maybe teach a class here and there. It's not a bad it's not a bad thing to have more depth to your division, which this division does need depth, Micah. It definitely needs depth.
Yeah.
They didn't need 30 women in this.
Even though, no, but it is the best women's division in the world.
But we don't need 30 women in this match. No disrespect to these ladies. I'm sure a lot of them work hard. But when somebody like me that watches the product every week is asking, who is this? I think you might have a problem.
Well, that's true. I'm not going to refute your claim on that. But I got a couple more, so I guess we can ping pong back and forth rather than dump them all at once. So if you want to go ahead with your next scoop, Ryan, you lead the way.
Yeah, Kairi Sane had the most unique save I've ever seen in a Rumble match. Do you remember that spot she had?
I do. It was very interesting.
Yeah, I know you're their play-by-play guy, the Scoop Slam podcast, Michael. Can you do your best of trying to describe this spot that Kyrie Sane had?
So basically, she was about to go out. She was on the apron, and somebody, I want to say, kind of kicked her legs out from under her, and she falls and catches herself with her. She is facing out towards the crowd, and she catches herself. She picks her knees up, and her fingernails are legitimately like on the edge of the apron, basically where the skirting meets the apron. And she is just clawing, holding on backwards. Like somebody photoshopped the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man holding the train back and just had her there. And she held it for a good probably 10, 15 seconds. And it worked. Like it looked maybe like she was about to be out a couple times, but she did really good with it. And while I'm not exactly high on Kyrie Sane. It was a very neat spot, especially for a woman who is smaller.
Yeah, it would have been better if she actually would have saved herself from the elimination, but she got eliminated anyway. So
Yeah, but a memorable moment's a memorable moment.
yeah, you're right. You're right.
But speaking of memorable moments, not long after one of her fellow TNA women's champions or knockouts champions returned, a knockouts champion debuted for the first time in WWE, even though she is not signed. Jordan Grace arrived and she made a huge impact. She cleared out the ring. She looked like $1,000,000. It was a genuine surprise, which was something that we didn't get a lot of in this WrestleMania, in this Royal Rumble. Uh, the event as a whole, not necessarily this match. But yeah, she came out with the belt and all, and it was a complete surprise. She kind of didn't get a huge pop just because people didn't know her originally, but once they kind of saw her and she came in there, just a house on fire, tore through everybody, and she looks great. Like she looks like she belongs in WWE.
Yeah,
I
she
gotta
looked
admit,
better
I
than
was impressed.
she looked better than like 85% of the women's entrance here.
Yeah.
She looked really good in there. Do you see a future crossover with TNA and WWE? You think we'll get more crossover matches?
I don't know. I could see it. I think it might be something they just kind of reserve for the Rumble. But I will say this. I bet you it was like what's the word I'm looking for? Um let's go check out how green the grass is on the other side. And then she's like,
Ah,
I don't know. That pop was pretty big.
well, we needed an entrant for the men's too, man. We needed somebody from TNA. Can you imagine if Nick Nemeth would have came for the Royal Rumble?
Come on, that was low.
I'm just saying. I mean, massive pop, Nick Nemeth.
They could have got somebody from the men's side to come out. What about
What,
Matt
Tommy Dreamer?
Cardona?
Is he there?
I think.
I
What?
don't
Hey,
know.
the people would have popped for Tommy.
I would have been happy, but then Tommy would have gotten the ring, and I would have been sad.
Oh well, come on.
Look at him.
Well,
No
yeah, but
disrespect
that's
to
like any
Tommy.
legend.
No, man. If DDP came in the ring, I would have. He looks pretty good for his age. I wouldn't have been sad if DDP would have got in there.
I saw that yoga, brother.
Oh yeah, man. Stays limber.
But I mean, honestly, I think that's such a power play for WWE. It's like, hey, lend us your talent. Yeah, we'll get you some. We'll get you guys over now that you guys are TNA again. And it's
Mhm.
like at the same time, they're just tampering pretty
Oh
much.
yeah, most definitely. They mentioned Knockouts champion, and they mentioned how Jordan Grace beat Naomi too. They don't really. This is one of the first time I can remember them ever saying something like that. And then they protected Jordan Grace on the way out too. She took what was it, KOD on the apron, and that's how she got eliminated.
Yeah.
So
She,
they put her over strong.
yeah, that's what I was about to say. She literally could not have looked any better in the Rumble other than if she had won.
Do you think she could make it in WWE?
Absolutely. I mean,
Well,
I've never
she got
seen her.
she got to get off the gas, brother.
Oh, come on now.
I'm
You
just
seen AJ
saying, man.
Styles in the match after this?
Well, AJ Styles didn't change his voice. Have you heard Jordan Grace lately?
Well, nobody
I don't
said she
know.
got to cut promos.
I'm just saying, Mike, she ain't gonna be able to pass a drug test.
Yeah, right. It worked for
Oh,
China.
it'd be all right. There were no drug tests back then, was it?
I mean, I don't think so, but hey, man, as long as they're being monitored,
Okay, all right.
I'm not against it.
Give them all steroids, huh?
Hey, she look like a freaking unit.
I mean, some unknown substances getting her to that size, Micah.
Well, you gotta do what you gotta do to be a star in this business, brother.
All right, all right.
Anyways, do you have any other scoops for the women's rumble?
R-Truth. R-Truth came out at number 24. He interrupted Valhalla's entrance, I believe. She was
Thank
24.
God.
And it was hilarious, Micah, in the moment. But then when I went back and watched the Rumble match, when he came out for the men's, he came out at guess what number?
Uh,
24. Continuity, man. Continuity. I like that. So, it
at least he
made
had his number right.
yeah. But it was hilarious. He got a huge reaction in the building. And I'm bummed out that we didn't have any R-Truth merchandise that we could have bought at the fan store that they had set up in the Tropicana Field. They didn't have any R-Truth merchandise, and we didn't have any R-Truth merchandise at the actual event either.
Yeah.
Wasted opportunity.
They should have had him out there selling it with like one of the workers.
Yeah, it was nothing but 80% Cody merchandise throughout the whole event. Was
No,
that
well,
that was all they sold?
at the pop-up store, there wasn't even that much Cody merch. It was like freaking there was some LA Knight stuff, there was a little bit of Punk stuff, but it was Jay Uso everywhere, which I mean I love, I know they're making a bunch of money off that Yeet shirt, but holy crap.
He is huge with the kids. I didn't realize how
Well,
over Jey Uso was with children. Our children, they love saying yeet, Micah.
well, it's how long has that saying been around now? Like 12 years?
When did it come back?
I think now.
Okay.
I mean, I've
Alright.
heard people say it like whenever you throw something, but
I don't
it
hear
was
as
like,
much.
yeah, it was big in the swag era, which was like 2014.
That era was goaded, but still though. R-Truth is the highlight of the night. I gotta hit you with a slam though, Micah. Uh
Well, hold on. I got two scoops. Unless
go ahead.
you got any
Okay.
more scoops?
Yeah, I got one more too, but you can hit me with yours though.
Okay. Let me go ahead and dump these off real quick. Another star-making performance for me, Jade Cargill.
Oh, all right. Well, I don't have another scoop then.
Oh well, my bad. I didn't mean to steal your thunder, but um. I was clamoring for it there because we kept getting these random people that I was like, who in the world is this? And I wanted Jade because even in AEW, if she wasn't the best wrestler, she had aura and she came in and I felt like she looked much more polished. She still has that aura. She looks like $1,000,000. She had the same logo from AEW, which I thought was interesting, but she's got
well,
star written all over.
well, Micah, not even that. She had almost a ripoff of her AEW theme. Like even with the opening line she has with a storm is coming or something like that. She had the same thing in AEW. And it was like a almost identical ripoff of what she had in AEW. It was crazy to hear.
Well, see, I don't remember much about it because obviously, the pop came, but I do remember seeing the logo because I was kind of shocked. Do they not have like extreme copyright on their stuff like WWE does? Well, I bet not because they're more like free use with the artist or art talent.
Yeah, yeah. Tony Khan. He's a much nicer guy. So if you want to take something with you, I'm sure he's not going to put up that much of a fight. Like Cody,
Yeah.
when Cody re-debuted in WWE, he took everything. Interest music, logos, nickname. He took everything with him.
Which I mean, I like it to a point because I'm not a fan of guys uh I guess like a Dolph Ziggler, like I mean he leaves and now it has to be something else, which works for some guys like Matt Cardona, but that was what was cool in the 90s was one week Rick Rude's on WWF, the next week he's on WCW. Which I know WWF would kind of rebrand them sometimes, but it was just nice to have that, I guess, synergy. With Jade, and her overall package is the same. She's a star, and she got the biggest pop of the night that I remember when she eliminated Nia Jax. The people went nuts.
Yeah, yeah. It was a massive, massive ovation. They were building up Nia Jax throughout the whole match, so people were chomping at the bit to see somebody get one over on Nia, and they built it up perfectly with Jade coming out, and finally, she was able to eliminate Nia.
And another thing that's great about that is typically with somebody like Nia, um, or even like Omos later, typically they reserve that for like 5 people at one time, or 5 women, 5 men, whatever. But it was just Jade
No,
that got her out.
yeah, they actually tried that against Nia. It was like 7 or 8 ladies tried to eliminate Nia, and Nia overpowered everybody, which I mean, kind of ridiculous, but still, it happened. And so when Jade finally picked her up in the scoop slam and then tossed her over the top rope, that was a huge deal,
Which
massive deal.
was it was nuts too, because she did it with one arm because she flexed the other one.
Oh yeah, and she walked with Nia Jax. She didn't just pick her up a foot away from the ropes and just dump her over. Oh no, no, no. She took a stroll with Nia Jax and threw her over the top rope.
Yeah. So, welcome Jade Cargill. I'm happy to see you not just squandering away on Rampage doing small matches that aren't ever built up. But overall, closing thoughts about the Women's Rumble. A great Rumble that had some good surprises, introducing new faces, Jade, um, Jordan Grace, even if she's not signed with the company, Tiffany Stratton, Roxanne Perez, which I know they're on main TV, but it's still different once you get to the main roster. But the final scoop I had was the fact that it was match of the night and the right person won. Bailey ended up picking up the win and becoming the 2024 Women's Royal Rumble winner. We will get to who she challenges a little later, but overall, that's the best outcome they could have had, in my opinion, even if I picked Becky to win.
I was about to say, you think that was a better choice than Becky?
Yeah, now that it's played out a little bit, which, like I said, we'll get to that.
Okay, I got one slam, Micah, and it's my pick last year for Breakout Woman of the Year, Maxine Dupree. Oh man, she botched 2 head scissors in a row, Micah. Like not even 2 minutes apart from each other. And she tried. Do you remember that little head scissors she tried to do? Remember, like Kelly
Yeah,
used to do that back in the day.
I wrote it down because wasn't it Bianca that she like almost broke her neck?
I remember it. She did it to Bailey, and Bailey had to try to make it work. But if I'm Bailey in that moment, I'm not, I'm not, I'm not about to spin around for this. Like you
Yeah,
gotta
it
put
looked
some more effort.
bad.
It looked terrible, awful, garbage. She looked very amateur in there. She looked lost at times, which that kind of was a theme throughout this whole match, Micah. I know you said this was a match of the night, But I gotta be honest, man, this was clunky. Had a lot of botched spots. It made up for it with the surprises, but Micah, this was not a well worked Rumble match. It looked like a lot of these ladies were lost at times. Like they were just trying to think of the next spot they had in their head. And then they would just all go rest in the corner at times. Like this,
Well,
I don't know, man. We don't need 30 women in this match if 12 or 13 of them are gonna look lost throughout it.
I mean, I agree because I did notice stuff like that, but I don't know. To me, it felt like this had the most energy, which it had the benefit of going on first. But the surprises, everything, I felt like everything culminated well. Um, I don't know. I felt the most interested and like kind of I guess satisfied when the match
Now,
was over.
no, I was entertained. I liked the finish, but I'm just saying though, Micah, there was a lot of bad wrestling in this match. It was bad.
Well,
If you ever go back and watch it, you'll notice it. And there was
okay.
times that the crowd was quiet, which I
Well,
mean,
that
we're
was kind of a
there.
theme all night.
Yeah, we were there, but yeah, I don't know if they didn't have us mic'd up well. I know they were dead quiet during the KO Logan Paul match, which I'm sure we'll get to. But yeah, the
Oh
crowd
man, I
stink.
was gassed.
That was only match 3,
Um,
wasn't it?
yeah, but that was an hour and a half to 2 hours into the show.
Yeah, yeah, I get you.
Um, but the only scoop or the only slam I had was, and I kind of hinted on it earlier. Just the entirety of WWE needs a theme overhaul because, like you said, so many times these people were coming out, and I just was like, "Who?" Like I seriously had no idea, and that applies for the men's Rumble too.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Well, we move on to the next match. Honestly, one of the ones that I was most excited to see for the WWE Universal Heavyweight Championship, LA Knight versus AJ Styles versus Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns in a fatal four-way match. The people were very much up
Uh,
for this still. Um, but I don't know if they gave them anything to stay up for. Um, I'll start us off with the scoops. My first scoop of the match, I gotta say, LA Knight
yeah,
still massively over.
yeah, and he was the MVP of this match, honestly.
He got a huge reaction, like he was bouncing the people's heads off the announce table. Every time he hit somebody, it's just, yeah, 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 yeah. Like, it's the most simple chant in the world, but it is so easy to follow. And people love this guy. Um, I really feel like going into Mania, he's going to end up facing Logan Paul. I think that'll be a great match. I think it'll be a great feud. And it's the time to finally give him something for all this work that he's done. What a rebound of a career from where he was this time last year to now. This time last year, he was with Bray.
Oh,
Rest in peace.
come
Well,
on, come
no,
on.
I know that was a big spot, but hold on, let me get through it. He was with Bray in the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match, which was on the Rumble card, but in that match he got no reaction.
Well, well, I mean, people were fascinated with Braid's involvement. He was just LA Knight was the background player. Nothing wrong with that. You could tell he was
But
destined for great things.
was he? Because he was pretty much fresh off that
Oh, he definitely was. Do you not remember what was the Raw 30 or Raw 25? Was it Raw 30? Yeah, it was the 30th anniversary of Raw, and he came out and got a reaction, had a promo exchange with Undertaker. Like they were setting him up for big things.
I guess that is true. I don't know. I just feel like the guy, I mean, I know we've kind of been talking about it throughout the year, obviously, with the rehabbing of his image and character or whatever, but I don't know. He, like you said, MVP of the match, and I'm ready to see him finally get his moment.
LA Knight was motivated. All the other guys felt like they phoned it in. Especially, I think Randy got hurt, so I won't put a lot of blame on Randy. Some people said that he jammed his shoulder or some sorts. Roman, bro, come on, man. You only show up 6 times a year. You got to give me something. You got to give me something. AJ, he was there too. AJ's best days are behind him. I don't think he can give us 2016 AJ anymore. But for God's sake, he's what, 46 years old. So I'm not expecting that at this point. Roman, isn't it weird that Roman's the youngest guy in the match?
Yeah.
Did
And
you
he's
know
got the
that?
lightest schedule.
Yeah. He's like 38. Everybody else is 40 plus. And it felt like he was just going through the motions in this match. Like, did Roman want to be there that night?
I don't know. It was hard. Like, I think it was missing some kind of edge to it. I don't know. I know we all knowing that Roman was going to win. That was obvious. But like you said, other than LA Knight, there was no just like, man, I'm really behind this guy moment. Especially AJ, I felt like got no reaction. And Randy, who typically
Oh
gets
man,
a
quiet.
huge, you know, I don't know, just something didn't click.
I think they needed about 5 more minutes in this match. Maybe if you trim off 10 minutes of the girls' match or the women's rumble and then gave 5 minutes to this would have benefited from that big time. Because the ending kind of came out of nowhere, didn't it?
Yeah, that was one of my slams, but I do still have a scoop. If do you have any for this match?
Scoop, yeah, I did like how they gave the visual pin to every single guy in this match. Like I don't. You say you didn't go back and watch it, Micah, but they gave the visual pin to AJ. They gave the visual pin to Randy. They gave the visual pin to LA Knight. And every time a guy got the pin, where it should have been 3, they were pinning Roman. And like something happened where interference happened, or somebody dragged the referee out the ring. So every guy got the visual pin, Micah, which helped the overall image of each guy. So I did enjoy that. You know, every guy just didn't look like a J Bro, just taking the L to Roman. He didn't stack up everybody. I mean, every guy could have won this match theoretically.
Yeah, which, like you said, it does a lot for the image, even if they don't necessarily win. Just to be that close to pinning Roman on this grand run that he's been on.
It gives him an out too. Like, oh, I had you beat, Roman. I mean, because technically, well, I mean, he could have if he would have kept the ref in the ring a little longer, or if Solo didn't interfere. So they didn't just leave every guy. They didn't have every guy say that, or they could have. Hey, Michael, help me out here, man. You get what I'm
They
saying?
didn't. Yeah, I mean, I catch your drift. They
Yeah.
didn't have to just leave everybody flat, even if the match
Gave
was
everybody an
flat.
alibi.
There you go.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. An alibi. Gave every guy an alibi. Appreciate you.
Alibi,
That's why
word
you're
of the
number
night.
one. Yeah, you're the number one guy in the industry, Mike.
Hey, I try. Somebody needs to get us. We got good booking decisions, which we'll touch on a little later. The last scoop I have for the match, did like that Roman won somewhat clean. I know Solo interfered, so just follow me for a second.
Okay.
I really wanted no interference with this, considering there were so many guys, and it's technically no DQ because a Fatal 4-Way in WWE has no disqualifications. I know Solo did help him cheat, but it wasn't like Solo was involved in the finish. And so at the end of the day, Roman did get a clean pin, and I feel like that was a little different. I don't know. Maybe I'm huffing some copium with that take.
Did Solo need to wear a hood? Were
Hmm.
you confused as to who that was? Come on, man. Why was bro wearing a hoodie?
I'm not gonna lie, you did pop me when you said that. You're like, why does he even come out in that anymore? Like, we know who you are.
Well, who do you think that is? Come on, man.
Yeah, it was a reveal at Clash at the Castle. Other than that, like, man, come on now.
He keeps on doing it.
Leave that hoodie in the back. We know your tricks, sir.
Where's Jimmy at? Why didn't Jimmy come out throughout this whole match?
He was getting ready for the Rumble, brother.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But slams, I'm sure you got a couple of them if you want to touch on those real quick.
Oh boy, I just think that the ending felt a little flat. Like I mentioned earlier, they needed at least about 5 more minutes for this because it started. The crowd did get behind it toward the end, but
Yeah.
then he just speared AJ, and then 1, 2, 3, boom.
And that's what I hated was like AJ got the chair out and started kind of going to work, and I thought, okay, it's about to pick up. Like we're building to the end. Certainly, it's not 30 seconds away, and then it was just like spear 1, 2, 3, and I was like,
Dang.
okay.
Yeah, I didn't stand up at all. I was thinking it was going to be a near fall or something, but no, that was it. Okay.
Yeah. And this to me too was the last time that I remember the crowd being like really up for, well, I mean, I say that not during the ending, but they were starting, like you said, to build into it. And I think that was like probably the last time that the crowd really got up for something until like halfway through the men's rumble.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's just, but did you have any slams?
I did have one, well, and I kind of already talked about it a little bit that I wanted Solo to win or wanted Roman to win clean. The Solo involvement was completely not needed. Like, not in the slightest. They could have had Paul do that, and like it would have been interference, but it would have been a little different. It would have been a run-in, which is so common in the Roman story arc of this past year, really past 2. But they didn't have to do that. Like, I don't even remember who he had pinned at the moment, or who had him pinned, but AJ or LA Knight or Randy or whoever wasn't being pinned could have pulled the ref out and it would have made sense. Do we have to have a run-in in this match?
Probably wasn't needed, but Roman doesn't win clean. Like you know this. This is the story. Well, they've been kind of bipolar with the stories they're trying to tell. Because I did rewatch this, Mike, and the announcers throughout the whole match is saying how Roman is so unbeatable, so untouchable. If you hate Roman's schedule, just beat him. But then they have him cheat throughout all his matches. It's like, well, is he unbeatable or does he need help? What are you trying to tell me here?
Yeah.
So I just don't.
That's what I
I don't
wanted.
like that. Yeah. What did you want?
I wanted a dominant win, so it looked, especially going into
Yeah.
WrestleMania.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Because, okay, so follow me here. Instead of Solo running in, LA Knight pulls him out, whatever, match continues. Well, when AJ's waylaying on somebody with the chairs, say LA Knight, and he goes to do it to Roman, and Roman's kind of on his knees or whatever, and AJ goes to swing the chair down, Roman low blows him. Well, that's still kind of dirty, but,
It is.
but it's not a run-in. So now, while AJ is low blowed, have Randy come in from the outside, which Randy was recovering from chair shots previous, run in while AJ's, leaned over holding his proverbial cods. Randy comes in, hits him with an RKO, and then since Randy's focused on AJ, when he comes up and he's doing his, crazy taunt, Roman's coming off the ropes, boom, spear, 1, 2, 3. Would that not have been a better finish and not had the involvement of Solo and made Roman look like a much bigger threat?
Yeah, I agree with you. It's just what bothers me is that them continuously saying that Roman can't be beat when he literally has to cheat in all his. Well, just do it how you said it. Just give him one clean win. Then, if he's in God mode, then let's see him win a match 1-on-1 without any interference. Please, can we have that?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, even if you don't want to do the low blow.
Can the
So,
announcers acknowledge that he's not untouchable? He actually should be losing these matches, but he just cheats. They need to tell that story.
Yeah. There needs to be a fine line. Like, Tony Schiavone calls MJF a douchebag, but then, like, Michael Cole's like, Roman's the most dominant champion of all time. Like, have somebody that calls him out on it.
Yeah, have Pat say, well, I mean, he cheats in all his matches. I'd be dominant too. Like just tell me that. They don't do that. It's weird
Yeah.
how they commentate on Roman's matches.
That's why Bobby the Brain Heenan's one of the greatest of all time, because he would actually kind of like have an edge of realism. Like, yeah, this guy wins all the time, but he's got the whole NWO behind him.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's something. Did you have anything else for this match so we can move on?
That was it for me, unless you had anything.
No. We can move on. Disappointed though in that match.
Yeah, me too. I really had high hopes. But speaking of high hopes for a match, this was one that I predicted would be match of the night, and I was extremely sorely mistaken. For the United States Championship, the defending champion Logan Paul versus challenger Kevin Owens. And once again, I got 2 of each.
Yeah, Micah, let me just stop you right here because I got a feeling I know where you're gonna go with this. This match was a lot more entertaining with Pat, Michael Cole, and Corey Graves commentary because they had me in stitches throughout this match. Like they were actually hilarious. Like not the Tony Schiavone, Taz, and Excalibur like when they pop each other. No, these guys were hilarious throughout this match.
Yeah. In the arena, this match did not come across that way. If you want to start us off with the scoops, I'll let you go ahead.
Well, we got a cameo from Jelly Roll before this match, Mike. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, that's true. He got popped.
Yeah. Michael Cole killed me because he said, "Oh, it kind of looks like Kevin Owens' brother," and then he just moves on to the next subject, and it's just quiet. It's from the commentators.
Oh man, they were probably cracking up with their mic muted.
I think Pat like chimed in like, "Well, they're both handsome," or something like that.
Yeah, okay, buddy.
But that was my first scoop, man. Michael Cole got me with his little offshoot comment there.
He becomes a little unhinged with Pat, like you were talking about earlier. Like when he would make fun of Top Dollar, it's like, man, where did this come from? Oh, that's when he knew he was dead in the water too. Once Michael Cole starts making fun of you.
And now he has the modern day hero. What's his name? Joe Hendry making fun of him on Wednesday nights or wherever TNA comes on nowadays.
Sure. That sounds like a day that it could be on TV. I think it's Thursday.
Yeah, I'm about to say you crossed the line, Mike. You know what day it comes on.
I crossed the line for the first episode. I ain't been back.
You ain't crossed back?
Man, it's been a busy couple weeks. We barely have time to meet for this.
Bro, you went to the bench when you saw what the rest of that show was.
Well, I really did mean to catch Osprey and Alexander, but I have yet to do so. Man,
what's that? Hey, hold up! No, I ain't gonna let you get away. Wasn't that on the same show Dolph debuted? You didn't catch the whole show.
I plead the fifth. Look, man, in the past 2 weekends, I have driven 24 hours, a full day. And we didn't even get into the whole story about the drive to Tampa, which was horrible because I had a flat tire, then had to change it on the interstate. Well, now I can't go over 50 miles an hour because the car's swerving. Shout out Prince Nana. And then it takes an hour to get to the nearest Walmart. Then it takes an hour for them to put that on. And then I stepped in some random child's turd.
Well, you couldn't have found 15 minutes to watch Josh Alexander versus Will Ospreay.
Oh, I guess I could have watched it while I was waiting for my tire to be put on.
Yeah, or cleaned off that turd you stepped in. And Mikey, you just didn't want to cross the line. You came for Dolph. You saw who else was on that show. You saw Santino Marella, and you pieced out. Be honest.
Did you watch it?
Hmm?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
case. ladies and
Oh
gentlemen.
yeah, I watched it. Watched it.
No, okay. How many burning hammers did they hit?
At least 6.
Anyways, we got KO and Logan Paul up on slate. You talked about the commentary and the Jelly Roll comparison. For my first scoop, I'm not gonna lie, I don't even know that I could call this a scoop.
Oh, okay. What you
I
got?
was so gassed by the end of this match. You might remember this better than I did. I remember there was a couple cool spots, like one of them specifically that I wrote was Logan jumping off the barricade onto KO. Or am I misremembering that? Was that KO jumping off the barricade onto Logan?
I don't even remember that happening. Did that happen in this match?
Okay, maybe it did. I don't know, man.
Okay.
I
No,
was
it could have happened.
gassed.
It could have happened. The only thing I got wrote down for this match as far as like actual action goes, because this wasn't like the most fascinating match to watch, was how Logan Paul looked at Michael Cole and said, Michael Cole, you said that nobody can superplex Kevin Owens. Well, watch me. And then he gets countered into a superplex by Kevin Owens. So I thought that was pretty funny, and that was one of my scoops. But what were you saying about being gassed, Mike? I'm sorry, I just stepped all over your scoop.
No, I mean, I pretty much already talked about it. This was the cooling match for much of the crowd, and I feel like it was pretty quiet throughout. And I was one of those. I was trying to rest, but man, even still, like through probably halfway through the men's room, like when Cody came out, I was like, okay, I'm up now. But there was like little stuff, but we'll get to that. The only other scoop I had was I felt like the finish was pretty interesting.
Yeah,
I really thought KO had it there
that
live.
yeah, very unique.
And I know there were some people around us, specifically one of my high school friends that I knew. She wasn't around us, but I saw on Snapchat. She was pissed because she bit the fake, and Logan ended up retaining the belt due to DQ, which I liked that finish.
Yeah.
But I was upset at first because I thought KO did win, and I want Logan to have a longer reign.
The referee is probably the best in the company. He caught that. We need to put this guy on Roman Reigns' matches.
Good point. I didn't even think
Just
about that.
yeah, a good old DQ finish is very welcome when they do it rarely, but it can really help them ending like it did here.
Yeah, and especially, um, when you forget what you're about to say. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Hey, I did. I was laughing so hard in this match when Pat McAfee he started marking out for the guy that came out with the white T-shirt. You remember that random guy that always comes out in Logan Paul's matches?
Yes, that was one of my slams. He's
No,
in every
no,
match? I don't know his name.
no, that was the joke though in this match. Pat finally says his name. Like he just starts saying, "Oh my God, that's Jeff. That's Jeff with the white tee. Look at that." And then Michael Cole and Corey Graves just go, "Who? Who is that? Is that his name?" And then Corey Graves says something, an offshoot comment too, where he says, "Can security handle this guy? You know what? I think I can take him. He doesn't look that big." And then he stands up from the guest. Bro, it was hilarious to see, Micah. You gotta if you go back and watch this event, go back and watch that just for the commentary.
I was about to say, it seems like that was the only thing that made this match like alive. Because man, in the crowd, it was dead, and I legitimately wrote that. Who is this guy helping Logan Paul, and why does he have no name?
Well, that's Jeff in the white tee, Micah.
Okay, put
Yeah,
that on the little banner when he comes out.
yeah, Jeff with a nice clean white tee on. Came out with the brass knuckles, and then Austin Theory and Austin Theory came out. I
Aussie
like
Austin
that.
Theory.
I like that trio together though. I hope they keep these guys together.
I think it can work. Like the Miz and Morrison comparison that you made between Theory and Waller it definitely works. But with Logan, I feel like it just ties everything together, and like the three most douchiest guys in WWE
Yeah.
have paired together.
It seems like these guys could be like friends in real life, you know?
Yeah.
They all fit together.
It's kind of like Eminem, except with no Melina.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like that. They are a great pairing together, or I guess it wouldn't be a pairing, it'd be a what would you call that when it's more than
Uh,
two people?
a trio, a triology.
Okay. The triology together or all together is what I was trying to say, Micah. It works for this. And overall, this match wasn't terribly exciting, but it did have a great finish. So I won't bury it too badly. And the commentary throughout made up for the kind of the lackluster match. I mean, Logan looked great in there. I'm not going to take anything away from him. He's a natural in there. He worked on the hand that KO had injured. So they were telling a story throughout the match. They didn't just do random moves throughout it and kick out a bunch of finishers. They actually told a story. It just wasn't terribly exciting until the finish.
Which I forgot this caveat legitimately up until like right now. Apparently, Kevin Owens broke his foot like in early January, and they still had to put this match on. So I do have to give them props for even just continuing with it. I would like to see them run this back when both guys are healthy.
I think it's a fracture, and they are going to continue the story because I think they did have something going on last SmackDown. I faintly remember them having a segment together. So I think there'll be one more match at Elimination Chamber. I don't know what they're going to go with. They probably go with some kind of stipulation match. So we'll get one more rematch with these guys. KO got a huge reaction at the end. I forgot to mention this earlier when he power bombed Logan Paul through the announce table. Do you remember that happening, Micah?
No, not at all.
You don't remember that happening? He power bombed Logan Paul through the announce table.
On at Royal Rumble?
Yes. I forgot it too until I rewatched it back. He actually did power bomb through the announce table.
Oh my God, no! I have no memory of that.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, I'll take your word for it.
Anyways,
Well, let's get to what got people in the door. The biggest main event, or at least the most interesting Rumble probably in the past 2 years, or well, 2 years. Probably longer than that. I'm really fumbling. Anyways, the men's Royal Rumble for 2024. We've talked about it, had a lot of intrigue going in, a lot of different weaving storylines, and even though we pretty much knew who the final two were going to be, I don't think anybody truly knew who was going to walk out. But it started off with two brothers and a feud that's been building all year, and that was Jimmy and Jay Uso, number 1 and number 2, which is my first scoop. I thought it was a great moment, and it kind of picked the people up a little bit. Like I said earlier, I didn't really get into it until about halfway through, but there was a big pop when they realized it was Jimmy and Jay to start, and the little arm motion that that Jay does.
Yeah.
I don't know what you call it, but it is the funniest thing to watch live because
Bro, you were doing it. Stop. Michael was doing it.
I feel like you were too.
I like it. You the one that hate it.
No. I like it because it's over. But it is the funniest thing because when everybody's doing it as a crowd, it's fine. But if you like single in on one person, it looks so weird. And especially with wrestling fans, because like
Uh,
I mean, come on now. We all know wrestling fans are nerdy, and most of them have no, uh,
Rhythm.
yeah.
Okay.
And dude, some of these, man, there was just some people in the crowd that were cracking me up. No, no offense, but it's a really goofy taunt when you single out one person doing it. Except for Jay,
Jay.
he looks cool doing it.
Yeah, Jay is super over too. He was probably the top three most over guys on the show, honestly.
They kind of hinted at something on Raw. Well, I say hinted. They literally had a back and forth promo. But we'll save that for the episode we're going to record in a couple days.
Yeah.
But no, man, they got to give Jimmy something soon. I feel like at Rumble, it's going to be him. Did I say Jimmy? I meant Jay.
Yeah, Jay. And you said Rumble. You mean Mania.
Oh boy, it's getting late. Anyways,
All
I feel like at Mania it's gonna be Jay versus Jimmy, which I think is the direction they need to go. But Jay needs a singles title soon.
Do you think they still go in that direction now with all the injuries and possibly Brock being out of WrestleMania? I don't know if they still go with Jimmy versus Jay. Would it be that much of a travesty if they didn't do Jimmy versus Jay, Micah?
I don't know, man. I think they have to eventually. I think Mania
I
would be the
don't.
time to strike.
You had this as a scoop, but I don't. I think this was a slam, honestly, man. They didn't do anything too spectacular when they got in the ring together as one and two. They didn't even like fight throughout the match, or they didn't really brawl throughout the arena like how it should have been. It just felt like they were just going, like they were just having a regular match, and then they didn't even interact throughout the match after that. Don't you think that they should
Well,
have had a little more together?
yeah, I do. That was one of my slams, but it was kind of like a in the moment when they both hit and they did the face off, it was great. But
Yeah,
then
but
when they didn't continue anything, that's when I was like, man, okay, you know.
could couldn't they have one of them eliminated the other, and then the other one go in the ring and eliminate them to try to get back? Give me something. That wouldn't have been a hard story to tell.
I agree. And then, like you said, have them fight off.
Yeah, yeah. It didn't get me excited for the match, Micah. They just kind of had a basic back and forth exchange, like it was I don't know, the third segment on Raw. It just didn't feel like, oh God, two guys finally coming face to face, finally getting their hands on each other. You know what I mean? It just didn't feel terribly exciting.
Yeah. I mean, I follow you. I definitely wanted to see some continuity throughout the match, but
Yeah.
the moment itself was good to me. I will say, whoever made that freaking Miles Morales meme where it has like the good Miles and the bad Miles, that was the best thing I've seen. I was dying laughing about that. I saved it to my phone. It's great. But that was my first scoop for the men's rumble. If you want to go ahead and hit us with your first one as well.
Oh man. I think I only got one scoop for this match, Micah. Well, I did. This match was uh there wasn't a lot of surprises in this match. And I know the Rumble, they never advertise there's gonna be surprise entrances. But with a Rumble, you kind of you expect the surprise entrances. And when you don't get them, it's kind of a letdown. You know what I mean? They should have
Yeah.
had at least one person as a surprise. Would it have been that tough to call in Ken Shamrock, or maybe a Mr. Kennedy? What's he doing? Can we get some kind of surprise? The only surprise entrant we got, Micah, was Pat McAfee, and Omos hasn't been seen since WrestleMania, so I guess he was a surprise. And I think, well, Andrade came back, but
Yeah, but
yeah, when we looked at each other, when we saw Andrade's name flash on the screen, like, oh, okay, all right, who's next? Like, I mean, it wasn't exciting.
yeah. I mean, it would have been hard to call it like Hurricane or Booker T or so. I'm not
Yeah,
necessarily asking for The Rock, which I was, but
I
something.
wish. Yeah, it just, I know they haven't been doing it the last couple years, having surprise entrants. But could we get one person for the Rumble as a surprise? Just one.
Yeah.
This
Especially
match.
when we grew up seeing that.
Yeah, you would get at least 3. I'm not asking for 3 or 4 like they used to. Just 1, maybe 2 if you're feeling generous. And then Omos coming back randomly, like nobody asked for that. Or Ricochet coming back, bless his heart, but we didn't need Ricochet in this Rumble. Where
Yeah.
was Chad Gable at? I think somebody like a LA Knight or AJ Styles should have came back out. This Rumble needed a little something more.
Mm-hmm. It
It
just,
felt a little lacking.
yeah, it really felt like a show dominated by 2 guys, which, I mean, my next scoop was there was a lot of great performances that I did want to shout out, but it's not something that we were necessarily looking for, uh, like you said, like a surprise. Like, I thought Drew did great, even though, he kind of stiffed my boy Punk, but we'll,
Well, he did pray for it, Micah. So I mean, it
we'll
kind of had
touch
to
on
happen.
that. I thought Gunther once again did great. Punk and Cody, great stuff. I sound like Tony Khan. Sammy coming back, I like that too, but I don't know. I mean, I get what you're saying. It's not advertised, so you can only hold it so much against them. But
I think
we grew up
I
seeing that.
Yeah, I think the fact that we had no surprise entrance in this Rumble, people were expecting something huge for number 30. I think people had in their minds where Rock was about to come out. Which if Rock would have came out at 30, okay, I wouldn't have had any other complaints about this match.
Yeah,
But
because
the
that's big
fact,
enough.
yeah, that would have been huge. And it felt like they were building to that, didn't it? It kind of felt like we were
Mm-hmm.
building to like something huge at number 30. And then we got, I like Sammy. I really do. I enjoy his work. He's one of the best promos, one of the best in-ring guys they have. But at number 30, when you didn't have any surprise returns and you don't get The Rock, you don't get Steve Austin, you're just kind of like, oh, okay. Hey, Sammy. Sammy. Yeah. You know what I mean, man?
Yeah, and I know this is revisionist history, I guess, because now we know what happened. But if The Rock was going to show up in Birmingham, Alabama on a random Friday night, which, I mean, I know it's the Friday night after Royal Rumble, but holy crap, could he not be in the Rumble? Could he not come out after the Rumble?
To have like a little stare down with Cody, that would have been big.
Exactly. That if that happened after the Rumble, I don't think I would have even had a gripe about no surprises because once again, The Rock, big
It probably
enough.
it probably would have changed my whole perception of this event, actually, if that would happen
Yeah.
at the end. Because if remember, we were sticking around like, oh, maybe Rock will come out, maybe are we getting Rock? And then we heard Cody cut a promo, which he has his fans. He's a nice guy. He's the future top babyface, number one John Cena type guy of the company, yes. But I mean, wouldn't have killed them to, you know, wheel out the Rock, man. Come on.
Especially if they're gonna do it the week or like not even a full week after.
4 days later. Yeah.
And you can call me butthurt because I wasn't there, because I am. I am butthurt that I wasn't in Birmingham Friday night. But still, it just it
This
what's you go
I get
ahead.
what you're saying. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Let me just say that this crowd going back and watching this and actually being there, this crowd did not deserve CM Punk's first match back in 10 years. We stunk, Micah.
We did. I don't know about we.
Well, I mean, we were cheering for CM Punk, but at certain points, man, this should have been a huge this should have been massive. This was CM Punk's first match back. And then just like guys, as soon as Punk came out and did his, he did his running knees in the corner to everybody, took off his shirt, everybody cheered and such. But then after that, the crowd just kind of sat in their hands, like, oh, okay, he's back. Yeah, another guy on the roster. No, this should have been a huge deal. Tampa sucks. Tampa stinks. I'll never go back to Tampa, Michael.
Oh, come on. What'd the city do?
Well, I mean, they treat CM Punk like that. I don't want to be a part of anything that they do. Gasparilla. Who knows about Gasparilla? Who Gasparilla ever beat?
Oh no, you're gonna get all our pirate fans pissed at us.
Yeah, those jabroni pirates.
I don't know. I don't know if it was the pacing or what, but even because like we didn't have to get up crazy early that morning. I mean, I think we slept, a good while.
I, maybe a lot of people went to Gasparilla and it burned them out. You think?
Well, maybe, but we didn't, and I was dead tired by the end of the night.
Well, I mean, if the crowd was up, I probably would have, fed off their energy. But nobody had any energy after Punk came out and did his running knee. Like I said, Mike, it was just kind of apathy after that, and it really should have been. It should have been a huge moment. This is CM Punk's
Yeah.
first match back in a decade.
I mean, I get what you're saying, and like you said, you watched it, so I'm sure you know how it came across better. I was up for the Punk stuff, especially when it was him and Cody in the end. Like, I was on the edge of my seat, but I can't speak for everybody else.
R-Truth was the MVP of this match too.
Yeah, that was actually my next scoop. R-Truth and the tag spot
Oh
with
man.
along with the Carlito coming out, kind of cleaning house, and then clocking Santos and eating the apple. Those were probably like some of the best spots of the Rumble. But who would have thought ever that a tag spot that makes no sense would have gotten one of the biggest reactions of the Rumble? R-Truth is crazy over, and it was great.
Yeah, it was the tag spot, and I liked how Damian Priest threw him over the top rope. I did it. I did like that.
Yeah, which I think they're kind of playing this role of like Truth is just going to keep getting beat up and keep getting beat up, but
Like he doesn't remember.
yeah, but I mean, I like the way they got JD out too. He was like, "Oh man," and threw him back in trying to help him, and then he just got clocked.
We had an awesome Truth reunion in the Rumble too.
Oh yeah, they did the little pose.
Yeah, and then Miz tried to throw out. I think that was Dominic, and R-Truth stopped him. So I mean, I like the continuity. I like the story they were telling with the Judgment Day. I think R-Truth and Miz. I think they challenged for the titles.
I could see it. Probably a night two match or something.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that.
Next up for my scoops, Braun Breaker to me had an absolutely stellar performance. He came in, destroyed everybody. I'm glad to see him finally coming to the main roster because I don't know, man. You're not as high on him as I am, and you've seen more of him than I have, admittedly, because I don't know much about his promos. But man, the way he hits the ropes, that little I don't even
Poof.
really know what to call it, but it's like he flips them backwards and then catches them with a cutter. He's just a crazy freaking athlete, and I just want to see him every time he's in the ring.
Yeah, that's Goldberg's old move. I don't know if he ever like gave it a name, that little gorilla press thing that you're talking about.
Yeah.
But seeing him run the ropes live is insane though. Like the speed he moves at. Did you see what happened on Vengeance Day? Like he almost snapped his neck when he ran the ropes.
Yeah, I did see that clip. That's actually really scary. If he had like hit it wrong.
Yeah, the insane speed he's moving at. Like he literally almost snapped the ring ropes.
Yeah. Which I mean, I hate to necessarily draw comparisons to this guy right now because of the stuff going on, but
Oh, oh,
he has some Brock Lesnar tendencies. Like he's a freak
oh.
athlete in the way that
I
he
hope
hits the
not.
ring. Well,
Check his
maybe he's
phone,
not a
Mike.
piss man. But anyways, I'm excited to see Braun get called up to the main roster.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember how he got eliminated. I think it was. How did he get
It,
eliminated? Was it
okay,
Dom?
so
I think it was Dom.
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
it was during JD McDonough's entrance, so we didn't really
Oh,
catch
yeah.
it.
Stupid.
Yeah, but he eliminated Omos, and then after he eliminated Omos, Dominic sent him over the top, which great heel spot.
They should have timed that better though. That shouldn't have happened during JD's entrance.
Yeah, it was kind of funky.
Yeah, nobody could see what was happening because you got JD's Titantron on the screen, so you didn't know what was happening.
Yeah, because you got JD's head in the way.
Well, oh, fuck.
Well, let's get to the meat of the matter. My final scoop was the ending of the Royal Rumble. The Punk Cody finale was probably the best 6 to 8 minutes. I don't remember exactly how long it lasted. Of the entire show to me. No one in the crowd knew who was going to win. And I felt like everybody was locked in cheering for their guy. At least live, I felt like that. I know I was cheering for Punk. There were some people cheering for Cody around us. But eventually, Punk goes for the GTS. He gets denied. And Cody throws him over the top. And while the crowd celebrated, I did clasp my hands over my face in shame.
Yeah, we were all bummed out. I went back and watched the broadcast though, Micah, and CM Punk said right before, I didn't come back to lose to Dusty's kid. And that should have gave away the finish right there if you were watching at home.
Well, I've seen him say something, but obviously, it's hard to listen live. But I do want to say this. Ultimately, I feel like the right decision was made, especially due to the injury.
Yeah.
I am one of the biggest Punk fans in the world. I followed him from AEW to WWE, and I will pretty much defend any of the AEW bull crap that happened. But
you follow him to the UFC?
I did. I actually did watch both of those fights. Hey, he made a pun about it. We'll get there.
Okay, all right.
But I don't know. I'm not the biggest Cody guy in the world. But it works. We'll talk about maybe what's going to happen, but it probably was for the best with him being hurt.
Hindsight being 2020, yeah, I agree. We got to give CM Punk some credit though, because he did pretty much all his signature moves, and it didn't really look live. It didn't look like it live that he was injured, but him doing all that stuff in the match with a torn tricep, you gotta be a tough SOB to endure that.
Yeah. And I feel really bad for the guy because this just seems to be like a continuing thing. Every time he comes back, he gets hurt, and it'll be like short stretches. Like when he first came back in AW, it was fine. And then when he came back the second time, it was fine. And I think it's just that wear and tear that it takes on your body. But you can't build up the callus if you can't get in the ring. So, I know it's weighing on him mentally. It would weigh on anybody. So, at the end of the day... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say it happens. Guys like Samoa Joe was injury prone towards the end of his WWE run. And now look at him. He's the AEW World Champion. He can't... Maybe it's just bad luck right now, but that doesn't mean he can't turn it around and be relatively healthy throughout the rest. Edge, when he first came to WWE, Micah, when he came back in 2020, that was 2020. He got injured like within 3 months. He tore his. Did he tear his tricep too? It was something like
Honestly,
that.
I don't know.
But he was out for like 8 or 9 months. Came back and won the Rumble. But my point is, though, he was 40 plus, mid 40s, came back and stayed relatively injury free. So I don't think this is the end of Punk. I don't think he should retire. And the losers online celebrating him getting hurt, like he deserves to get injured because he punched out the EVPs. Come on, man, grow up.
Yeah, that was what was really pissing me off. Was the people, and
Celebrate.
You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I know people were making jokes about it, and some of this was a joke or whatever. But some of those guys that wrestle purists that are all over the Elite. Not Ibu, because I like Ibu and he adds to the good of the wrestling community. But some of those guys from Wrestle Purist were straight up being douchebags about the whole Punk situation. I might not like the Young Bucks or Adam Page, and I might not want them to be on my TV, but I don't want those guys to get like physically injured and not able to do what they want to do. I might not be their biggest fans, and I may skip some of their segments, and I might, I might dog on them on the podcast every now and then. But like wishing injury or comparing
Yeah.
CM Punk to Osama bin Laden,
Oh,
all right.
God. Yeah. Come on, man. These guys risk their lives. Just stepping in the ring and doing like a routine bump. They could legit die. And people making fun of people that get injured, that's lame. I hope you have a terrible rest of your year. You shouldn't do stuff like that. Come on.
Yeah, because I mean, again, I know we talk all the time. We call a spade, and I'm gonna say if somebody's bad, but I never mean any of this to the personal lives of these people. You're putting an act. You're if you put a movie out, you're allowed to judge the movie. It's not an indictment of the person. It's an indictment of the character or the performance that they put on. And an injury is a serious thing that happens not to the character but to the people. So come on, like you said, let's grow up.
Yeah.
But that was the end of the Royal Rumble as Cody pointed to No, I'm playing. We got slams still left. I'll let you start us off with the slams since I had about 3 scoops I rattled off.
I like Pat's entrance. It was fun, but it did kind of feel like a wasted spot, Micah.
Yeah. Which they said
Got
it
in
was
there.
going to be for Brock, but then I heard that Braun's spot was for Brock. So, and then Pat said that he didn't know. I don't believe that.
No, there ain't no way he didn't know. Come on. It's funny though that he said that, but it just felt like a wasted spot. Like they should have gave this spot like Hurricane, like you said earlier. That would have been
Yeah, or
okay.
even Chad Gable.
Oh yeah, was one of the most, like, even his entrance music for Maxine got a huge pop. Like Chad's over with the live audience. They should have had, or Otis. I think Otis would have got the crowd fired up.
Yeah. I mean, that could have worked because he's big. You know what I'm saying? But, like,
Yeah,
we had Pat, which it was funny, but,
it was. But
eh.
it's but looking back on it, like, do we really need that instrument?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what would have been better if Corey Graves actually would have got in there.
Honestly, yeah, I would have been down for that because he's apparently cleared now.
He
Bring back
said
his
it
old
in.
theme, though.
Oh, that thing was heat. But he did make a comment in the match. I think it was when Pat got back on commentary. He was saying, "Well, you guys think you could have did better?" And then Corey was like, well, "I would have if they let me," or something like that. But he did make a joke about it, so I wouldn't have minded if Corey would have got in there and done like a little offensive maneuver and got eliminated. I don't know.
Yeah. Like, come in, pull your tie off,
Yeah.
clothesline somebody, give like 3 punches to Dominic, then have like Braun give him a spear and throw him out. Is that too much to ask?
He should have had a breakaway suit on too, like a quick transition. That would have been funny.
Like when Jerry Lawler ended up being in it.
Yeah, or Booker T. You remember when Booker T was in there when he was on commentary?
Yeah. I wouldn't mind Booker being in this one.
I think he's injured. He's having surgery at the moment, so heal up, boo.
Oh, I'm about to say, well, best wishes to Booker, but can we not have Trick? I didn't even think about that.
Oh man, his entrance on SmackDown before that was like he got a lot of good fanfare.
So that's what I'm saying. We could have had him instead of Pat. I mean, I'm not trying to be that guy, but anyways, I think the only other thing that I had, because we talked about Jimmy and Jay, and not having enough surprises, I felt like Bobby Lashley kind of got treated like a jabroni.
No, even worse was Karrion Cross. He got thrown out like it wasn't nothing.
Yeah, and they're trying to build him up.
And then the AOP came out like looking fired up, ready to beat down Bobby Lashley. And then did you see what happened? Do you remember what happened, Micah? Do you remember who stopped the
Not.
AOP?
Was it the Prophets?
No. Well, yeah, they did. They came out after this, but there was two referees that stopped AOP. It was
Oh,
two
come
of
on.
it was two of the women's referees. Not look, man, I'm all for equality, but these guys are like 6'7", 300 plus pounds, and two ladies are gonna stop them from beating up Bobby Lashley. Come on, man.
Yeah, they could take
Come on.
probably like 2 to 3
Oh,
guys.
it was so hilarious. But yeah, man, that happened, and I don't know, that was a little that kind of bothered me a little bit. And then the Street Profits came out and beat up AOP, and they brawled to the back, which should have happened with Jimmy and Jay, but I digress.
Well, you live and you learn. But that'll close up Royal Rumble unless you had any other slams.
No,
All right, well, that's Royal Rumble. What do you overall grade the event, whether that be being there live or just the show itself?
I enjoyed the show as a live viewer, being in the stadium. Micah is an experience I'll never forget. But we call spade a spade here on Scoop Slam Podcast. Correct me if I'm wrong, Micah.
We do.
I'm gonna give
Trademark.
this I give it a 4.7.
Oh,
Yeah, man, I give it a 4.7. Going
oh,
back and
that's
watching it,
low.
I'm going back and watching it, man. There's really not a lot to get excited for watching the event back. Like,
I
will I
mean,
ever go back and watch any of these matches? Probably not.
I honestly might rewatch like the last part of the men and bit of the women.
But yeah, see, but bits and pieces. Like, would you ever go back and watch this whole, like the whole KO versus Logan Paul match? Will you go back and watch? Probably not.
Oh no, no,
Probably not.
probably not.
Yeah, exactly. So these matches they were passable, but a lot of sloppy moments in the women's rumble. I know they don't advertise it, but no surprises in the men's rumble besides for Andrade. And the men's championship match, the Universal WWE title match, was just kind of there. It went through the motions. It could have used 5 more minutes. So yeah, this is a 4.7 event for me.
Well, we pretty much see eye to eye on this one. I'm gonna go 5.5. The live experience was great. Like you
Oh
said,
yeah, yeah.
I very much enjoyed being there. It's not the best show I've ever been to, but that was a bucket list of mine. Go to Royal Rumble one day. Um, and I had a great time. It was nice to get out of the house, stuff like that. Um, but the show was the show, and the show wasn't great. Um, and we just spent a whole hour dissecting that. So let's go ahead and move on to the fallout following because there's a lot, and it's better that we get into this quick. So to start us off, the Monday after Royal Rumble, Monday Night Raw, opened up the show. News started pouring in that CM Punk tore his tricep, possibly. And then the news started coming in that he was going to be there to address it live. Um, and that was exactly what happened. He came out there teary eyed, told, what happened, said, don't feel sorry for him, feel sorry for other people who really fight stuff, and he will be back. Then the sword unsheathes, and Drew McIntyre comes out and cuts his promo of the year, even though he's been pretty much on fire the past couple weeks with good promos. Says that he prayed for what happened to CM Punk, even though he's not a religious man. And he has been on one since then, and it's great. So I got a couple things right here that I wanted
Yeah.
to touch on. It's gut wrenching to see this happen to Punk once again. We talked about it a little earlier. It does take a blow to what was a really promising Mania season, and that sucks because there's other stuff going on that's kind of taken away from it. I know the Brock situation is happening and developing, but ultimately he is a star. So that kind of sucks to know that we're not going to be getting that. The inclusion of The Rock has added some of that. But without Punk, that was kind of a big story coming into the tail end of the year. His return, he was coming back to Mania. The promo battle him and Cody had was probably my favorite of the year so far. And the great thing about Punk and this promo was it was genuine emotion with a genuine story, and that's what makes Punk one of the greatest promos of all time. Was no matter the situation, no matter what was going on in his life or backstage or in the ring, Punk always feels real, and this is one of his best. It's the best promo he's had probably since coming back to WWE.
Yeah, it felt real. Didn't feel like it was prepared for him. Didn't feel like he workshopped the promo for 3 days beforehand. It felt like CM Punk talking to us personally, like he was in my living room talking to me. But yeah, man, CM Punk showed a lot of emotion. Great promo. This Mania season is cursed, man. Charlotte
Yeah.
goes down first. Then what? Seth gets hurt. Now Punk's hurt. Lesnar's out for other reasons, but still a huge blow to the card. Like this Mania, I'm not as excited for WrestleMania 40 as I was a couple months ago.
And I mean, I didn't even think about Charlotte either, but you just look at the stack of, what could have been. Brock
Yeah,
versus Gunther, Punk versus Seth, Charlotte versus Rhea 2 or 3 actually. Charlotte versus I don't know, Becky, Bailey, Io, somebody, I mean anybody, but Charlotte's one of the
Charlotte versus
greatest.
Bianca. They were kind of
Yeah,
building the Charlotte versus Bianca.
yeah. And so
And now we got the negative publicity coming from the Vince possible sex trafficking allegations. And we got the complete meltdown of the internet because of Dwayne Johnson possibly main event WrestleMania. It's just like I'm not as excited as I was about a month ago for WrestleMania.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Hopefully they can get us back. They're building up Drew.
Yeah, I like what he's doing on TV for the last couple months.
So I don't know. Maybe something can be built back, but we're gonna have to follow. But I completely agree with you. I hate the way that this has turned out so far, especially being as big of a Punk fan as I am, which, if you've been listening to the podcast, you know that by now. My other point here was, and we talked about it on the car ride home. We argued for well, I say argue, heated debate about Drew McIntyre and where he goes for this Mania. He needed something to heat him up, and this exactly fit the bill. It might
He,
be a while to, or go ahead.
I was gonna say he was doing some good work before this, but yeah, I agree. He's the hater of the year. Drew McIntyre is a great gimmick to have.
And I mean, I don't know. It's off to a really, really stellar start. I mean, it might be a while before we get to see this play out, but just the t-shirts and the Twitter stuff he's been doing, it's good work. I got to give it to him.
Is he necessarily a full heel? Do you think he's more of a tweener?
I think he is. I think he's kind of playing the like reality gimmick, if that makes sense. I mean, do you follow what I mean by that?
Yeah, it because I know we probably shouldn't talk about the Raw that happened tonight, but he did kind of get a babyface reaction when he started saying that Cody needs to finish his story and face Roman, and the fans want to see him go for the WWE championship. Like that's kind of a babyface move at the moment, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Yeah, but it is also kind of benefiting him because he wants the World Heavyweight Championship.
Still though, I mean, there's babyface intentions there somewhere.
Yeah. But I guess it's kind of a smart fan-ish gimmick, or you know how they call it the reality era? I guess that's kind of what I'm going for. Like it's more in tune with the online uh
But
crowd.
I feel like more of the audience is online than ever before now.
Well, I guess that is true. Which maybe that's why they call it the reality era. Um,
Yeah.
which I gotta say too, the line about I prayed for this and then it happened was just the absolute icing on the cake.
His
I
delivery was great.
and I mean, Drew for promo of the year so far. I don't know.
It was a great line. It's one of those lines that you'll probably never forget. Like,
Yeah,
you don't get a lot of that in modern day WWE, but this is one that I'll probably quote from for years for going forward.
and the camera flip to Punk's face as he just like shifted.
The zoom in.
It was just, I don't know, man. It was a masterpiece of exactly how you heat somebody up and you take a bad situation for one guy and you make it good for another.
Yeah, props to the crowd too for playing ball because they could have gave you what chance throughout, which I'm glad they didn't do.
Yeah. They also completely bit the fake because as soon as they said that, they were like,
Oh,
oh,
you piece of garbage.
yeah. It was great. I wouldn't have changed a thing about it.
Yeah, they turned a negative into a positive with the whole hater of the year Drew McIntyre gimmick that they're doing now.
And barring obviously what, we're building to the whole Roman Rock Cody spectacle. Barring that, if Drew goes against Seth at Mania and ends up beating him, I'm a lot more interested in that now than I was before Royal Rumble.
The thing about that is, though, we've seen it. We've seen Drew versus Seth multiple times. I think they faced off twice and Seth beat him.
Yeah. But it
So
feels a little fresher now, I think.
I think, yeah, because if it happened, well, no, it did happen at Crown Jewel. Never mind. I was gonna say if it happened on a PLE, it'd probably be a lot different. But well, we had it on a PLE, and I mean, it was okay, but it wasn't great. I wanted them to add Sammy to this match, but I don't think you can do that now, seeing as how Cody and Rock and Roman might have a triple threat. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see where they go from here, how they pivot.
Yeah, there's a lot. Like, I mean, I know we just kind of talked about how Mania season isn't as interesting, but there's still a lot of uncertainties going into it that I think makes the weekly TV uh kind of must see. Like, I've seen people today talking about like you were saying they weren't going to watch WWE anymore because of
Because of Stardust not being in the main event. Come on.
low blow, but the whole Cody thing. And I'm like, dude, you've been following this for this long. You're going to give up when nothing's even announced? Like,
A
there's
stare
not a
down.
single match on WrestleMania announced yet.
But Micah, we might have to hold off on the next recording to this podcast because I think we need to see what they do on Thursday at that press conference.
That is true. We might have to wait till Thursday night to record.
Yeah, because that will tell all. Because I saw a little theory on, I don't know why am I getting into this already? But you know what? Forget it. We're going late, so I'll just throw it out here. What if
Well, I
Rock?
will say we're
Okay.
kind of at the whole, we're kind of at the climax of this.
Okay.
We're at the code. Don't say it like that.
Oh man.
Okay, so we're
All
kind of
right,
at the
man.
whole Cody Seth Roman Rock thing. I mean, those two segments kind of coincide with each other. So if you want to hold that theory for just a second, I guess we can kind of
Okay.
open the floor.
Go ahead.
Seth wants Cody to challenge him. Obviously, as we all know, everybody listening to this podcast under the sound of my voice knows The Rock came back on Friday Night SmackDown and stared off with The Rock after Cody said, I'm coming for everything that you have, but not at WrestleMania. So this has sparked an insane outrage. hashtag we want Cody, people hating on The Rock, and nothing has even been announced.
No.
So
A stare down.
yeah, I mean,
And-
and it was all good segments too.
Well, pause, Micah. And the Raw that happened tonight, Cody didn't say 2 words. So Cody hasn't said anything either. They know what they're doing, man. They're not stupid.
Yeah,
They see it. They see what's happening. Maybe this was the
but
plan all along.
well, that's apparently some reports going around. But if you want to go ahead with your theory, and then maybe I'll touch on some bigger moments out of those segments.
Well, I'm just saying, there's a lot of options they can go with. I mean, they still have Damian Priest as senior Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Rock could be special guest referee for the Cody versus Roman match. That could be a thing. What if Roman and
I was gonna say, if you want to believe some of the dirt sheets with that too, they added special guest referee matches back to 2K24.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I was getting at. And Rock and Roman could have the little contract signing at that press event they're doing Thursday in Las Vegas. And then Roman could be all confident and cocky and not read the contract and sign. And then Rock could say, "Hey, you stupid SOB, you didn't read the contract, but really, I'm going to call this right down the middle. And there's going to be no bloodline affiliation at ringside. And I'm going to be the special guest referee." Or they could use Rock as like the Mike Tyson. You know, when at WrestleMania 14, they had Shawn versus Stone Cold, and then Mike Tyson as a special enforcer. They could use Rock that way. There's a lot of options they can go with, Micah. Like,
Yeah.
people are jumping the gun big time for just one stare down. We haven't even gotten any explanation or any follow up, and WWE has been leaning into this. It's not like they're hiding what's happening. It's not like they're turning the crowd mics down. Michael Cole even said tonight on Raw, he made a joke about the fans hijacking the Seth versus Cody segment when they started chanting Rocky sucks. So I just think people got their panties in a bunch way too prematurely, making it seem like Cody Rhodes was about to get fired from the company and Rock was he was making a power play to become WWE champion and unify the world championship. Like, bro, are people serious? Have people lost their mind, Micah? What's up with this online speculation? And people taking it as facts when Sean Ross Sapp and Dave Meltzer say, "Well, this is what I've been hearing, and it probably will go this way." Like they hear the speculation from these type of guys, and they take it as fact.
Well, everything I read on the internet's not true, Ryan. What are you gonna tell me next? The grass is green?
Mike, it's just so frustrating, man. So frustrating reading all this online outrage. I'm just a stare down, little stare down. And it's not just it's not just the neckbeards and the basement dwellers saying stuff. It's you got Gabriel Iglesias making comments. Logan Paul saying we want Cody. This has got mainstream attention now. Off one
O'Shea
stare
Jackson.
down. O'Shea Jackson. What do you say? He say what he?
Oh man.
Oh,
Man,
he went off
no, he's on the wrong side.
as he should be, but that's not for me to decide. I mean, you know, I'm a big Rock guy, so Rock and Roman wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if it happened. But what did O'Shea Jackson?
He basically, like, he's been writing straight up like diatribes about why, like, Cody should not finish the story, and he's been saying, like, dude, this bloodline story is 4 years long. Why are you fixing to pass that up for something that's 2 years long? He was like, he said, I'm a Cody fan. I like Cody, you know, whatever, but this is The Rock. This is The Rock versus Roman. And I might piss a lot of people off, but what I'm fixing to say, Cody versus Roman is not the way to go. It's Rock versus Roman. And I know people are going to be pissed about that. But, dude, this is the last spectacle we have. This is the last guy from the Attitude Era who can seriously put on a main event match. And I know everybody, oh, he's washed. Oh, he's old. Oh, he's on the roids. Oh, no. It don't matter. Hogan and Rock, it didn't matter. They didn't put on a great match, but the crowd was into it, and Rock and Roman could literally sit and stare for 3 minutes, and it'd be like Michael Jackson at the Super Bowl.
This isn't just The Rock, the last superstar of the Attitude Era that can actually have some kind of decent match. This is Dwayne Johnson, the biggest celebrity in the world.
Yeah.
Like, do people not understand that?
Like, if you ask anybody, I asked my friend who, I mean, he knows about wrestling pretty much adjacent of me. He knows what I know because if I'm talking about it, or well, I say he knows what I know. He knows what I tell him. That's a better way to phrase that. I said, "Do you know who Cody Rhodes is?" He said, "Yeah, I've heard of him briefly or whatever." I said, "You know who The Rock is?" He said, "Yeah, everybody knows who The Rock is."
Yeah,
Exhibit A.
of course. But Micah, they don't care. The WWE diehards, the internet wrestling community, they don't care about casual fans. They don't.
I mean, I know that, but
Why not appeal to a greater audience? This could be good for everybody. Like
exactly.
Rock and Roman on top as the marquee match at WrestleMania 40 is gonna make a lot of money from sponsorship deals and mainstream notoriety. People are gonna want these guys on their talk shows, and they're gonna want these guys on ESPN all week long. I mean, this could make the wrestlers more money. Did people ever think about that? It could help the wrestlers. Cody Rhodes probably
Yeah.
make more money just being on the card with Rock and Roman at the top.
I'm gonna say this now. I bet you if they go with straight up Roman versus uh, Rock at WrestleMania, it will be the most viewed Peacock event ever.
But but they can't do it now, Micah. They can't do it. The online outrage is too much to steer away from. They are going to hijack every single segment The Rock's in now. You know that, right?
Yeah.
These neckbeards are going to make Rock not want to show up. That might be the last time you see Rock on actual TV until the event. He might just be doing backstage promos. And the way Roman's schedule is, we may not see him till WrestleMania either.
Huh. Well, you got a good point there.
So are we? I don't think we get this match now.
I don't know. I mean,
They've ruined it. They've ruined it.
I gotta say, I first off, I gotta give props to Roman for the promo that he cut before anybody came out there,
Oh my God, yes.
which it buried Seth and it buried the title, and I felt like the
Uh-uh.
promo that they did on Raw
No,
buried
sir.
it too.
No, sir. No, sir. Seth had that coming. Seth been taking his shots at Roman for too long. That's a receipt, son. I don't care what you say. You can't be dogging me out in front of everybody and expect me not to retaliate. No, sir. I may be at home, but I'm coming up with material to get you back when I get back on TV. Ain't no way.
Dude,
He
he
deserved that.
cut a crazy, like, I text you, I said, I know you probably not watching right now and I ain't gonna spoil nothing, but dude, Roman cut an insane promo.
I want to talk about my little brother, Seth Rollins. That's right, no pop. Come on, man. He's got a point, though. Seth is
No, I
not
couldn't believe
over.
that he said that. No pop. That's right. I was like, "God."
Seth ain't over. His song's over.
I mean, we've been saying it. We go spade to spade.
It was hilarious. He said that he wore his wife's clothing and that he makes 10 times more money than he does, even though he shows up 10 times less than he does. And he's got a point. But Seth, let's not act like Seth is some victim here. He went off on, well, it didn't go off. He did his type of promo on Roman on Monday, thought he was doing something, complaining about Roman not showing up. and how that Roman has the Hulk Hogan title. Like, come on now, Seth had that coming, Micah.
I mean, I agree with you, but it was
Yeah.
like the line about yeah, I work less than you, and I make 10 times as much money as you.
Was he lying?
No.
Tell him when he's telling lies.
So, I mean, I, I see what you're saying. Like, it kind of buried him, but at the same time, he has
And
been
buried his
taking his
title.
shots.
He buried his title too, the losers bracket title.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. The promo that Cody and Seth did on that Raw, too, I felt like it didn't get the title over. It was like, do you want the actual one with lineage and this, or do you want the one that, like, I've only held? He was like, do you want the Dusty Rhodes title? It's like, Dusty ain't even held it. Dusty almost held the WWE Championship.
Yeah, Dusty wasn't alive when this title was first. This title's lineage didn't see Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah, so, I mean, I get what he's trying to, like, I get what he's alluding to, but
Why would you
I
want
don't
that
know.
title though? Wouldn't you want to like not show up and get paid? Like Micah,
Yeah.
if somebody gave you that opportunity at work, say, "Hey, Micah, would you rather show up 5 days a week and make what you're making now, or would you rather show up 2 days a week and make 4 times as much as you're making right now?"
I'm
But people
taking
will
the
make,
two.
but people will call you lazy when you're not here though. Which one would you
Two. They will
want?
call you lazy if you are there.
Yeah, like that's not really a flex saying that you're there at work every day. Like, okay, congratulations, sir.
That's an old, which I mean, I know still like mantra of like I work hard every day and that makes me better than you. Mm,
Yeah,
do
no,
a money spread.
bro,
Like that's what makes you better.
yeah, bro, bro, you limped up in here. I don't think that you're the winner in this competition.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Sir,
you
can
got
you do 5
120 hours of
burpees?
you got 120 hours of PTO. Like, congratulations, sir.
So, yeah. Honestly, Roman's got a fair point, but the whole argument to me of Roman doesn't or isn't here, so my title's better was stupid. But the online outrage is insane because I text you that night when all this was going on, or either the next day. I said, dude, they haven't even announced anything yet. Like, we don't know anything. This was trending for like 3 days.
Yeah, yeah, it was.
It's The Rock. Is it a question?
People hate The Rock. They wish him death because he almost ruined the DC Universe franchise and his whole controversy with Oprah. People hate The Rock now, Micah. Do you? I think when he dropped that rap song, his career kind of took a hit. I don't know how to describe it, but he hasn't been the same since he dropped that rap song.
I mean, look.
I like that song.
I mean, it was catchy.
Yeah.
Look, his movies suck. That's
Oh, come
besides
on.
the point.
Oh, come
In the
on now. I'm
ring,
not. No, I ain't gonna let you do that. How dare you? You didn't like the
okay,
rundown. You didn't like Walking
I
Tall.
never seen it.
Just say you didn't even see his good stuff. You only saw the Jumanji movies. Of course, those are gonna suck.
I mean, look, the DC movie was bad. Fast and Furious movies.
What? Did you see the Gridiron Gang? Did you see the game plan, Micah? You didn't see the game. You
Okay,
didn't see the
I
Tooth
did. I
Fairy.
did like the game plan.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody liked the game plan. Did you see the Tooth Fairy?
No,
I know it gets lot of bad, negative attention online, but I enjoyed it as a kid.
I like the Mummy.
Yeah, Scorpion King. Come on now. Rock doesn't just
Yeah.
do bad
Oh
movies.
yeah, not. I meant Scorpion King. Whatever.
I think he was in the Mummy too, but still, I know what you mean. Rock doesn't just do bad movies. I'm not gonna let you disparage the the good name of the game plan and Gridiron Gang. How dare you?
Yeah, but for every like Gridiron Gang, he has like skyscraper, and it's like a him, and then like the outline of his sunglass or the reflection of his sunglasses is a skyscraper, and he's got like a tactical vest on. Like, how many movies like that has The Rock made?
Well, he got San Andreas and Race the Witch Mountain. He's done some good ones, Mike. I'm not gonna let you bury The Rock's movie career. The Rock paved the way for John Cena and Batista in movies. People don't seem to appreciate that.
Well, those things can be true, but Batista's the better actor.
Well, does Batista have the catalog that Dwayne Johnson has, though, Mike? Did you see Fast
Guardians of the
Five?
Galaxy.
Fast Five.
No, I didn't watch Fast Five because the Fast and
Well,
Furious movies haven't been good since like the third one.
oh, come on. Fast Five was okay. You know
Okay at best.
it. Well, I'm not going to say give it an Oscar, Micah, but I liked it as a kid. Was the
Well,
Black Adam movie that bad?
I didn't see it, but I heard not good things by reputable sources.
That was because people said that Rock tried to take over the DC universe, which I still don't understand that story, but
I don't know how much truth there is to that, but all I know was when Rock laces up them boots and he gets on the mic, and he might still be corny, yes, but he's still The Rock, and he's still gonna get that pop. He's still gonna get the attention, and for everybody out there who wants Cody to finish the story,
finish that story next year.
Yeah, I said it a couple weeks ago. It's the match to make. It's going to make the most money. That's ultimately what this is for. And it's WrestleMania 40. It's a big, like, anniversary one. But that's not what's going to happen because of all this outrage.
And even if there wasn't outrage, I'm still not convinced that it was always going to be a one-on-one match. I think was always the plan, that they were going to get Cody involved. Because they didn't say anything. There was nothing announced. They could have said right then and there, oh, it's going to be Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania 40. What if we get it next year, WrestleMania 41, and that press conference in Las Vegas is them announcing that they're going to Vegas next year for WrestleMania, and the main event is going to be Rock versus Roman. They can still do that. We don't know. Yeah. We don't know. There's still a lot of directions they can go. But the blind internet outrage for a booking decision that hasn't happened, and people sending death threats to The Rock and his daughter are lame. And those people make me ashamed to be a wrestling fan, honestly, Mike.
Yeah. There's no sense in involving his... First off, let me get this out of the way. There's no sense in sending death threats to anybody over wrestling. There's a lot of people that take that junk way too serious. And I know we might have a podcast, but some people out there are chronically online, and there's a lot of y'all. Secondly, there's no reason to ever send that to a wrestler, especially when they're not necessarily making the booking decision. Even if they are, it doesn't matter.
Or anyone. I don't think anybody deserves death threats unless you're like a kid diddler or something. Like, do you really, like, nobody really deserves a death threat.
Yeah. Or like a field goal kicker if you miss a field goal at the end of a game.
Well, yeah, for my Crimson Tide, of course.
I'm just playing, but seriously, no. So, I mean, that's ridiculous. And especially, once again, ladies and gentlemen, nothing is confirmed. Like, I think that they pretty much have intentionally left that out there for this reason.
Yeah. Still open. We don't know where they're going. Tune in Thursday. We'll probably get a little more semblance. But if I'm booking, I'm booking the three-way because I know that the match is gonna get ruined if I just do a one-on-one match, even though I think that the one-on-one match probably would make a lot more money. But still, I can't book that one-on-one match now. So I think we get a three-way at Mania. Or special guest referee. Rock could be special guest referee.
That's where I would go because to me, triple threat, like I don't know, man. Rock versus Roman versus Cody, it doesn't feel the same as Rock
Rock.
versus Roman or Roman versus Cody. It just feels like it muddles it. So what I would do next year or this year, I would have Roman versus Cody with Rock as the special guest referee. Rock ends up costing, or like
Mm.
maybe not costing, because then it kind of
He
maybe would dilute
he
Cody, but
he evens the playing field by beating up Solo or Jimmy or something like that.
yeah, but they play into it because it's his family, so he's kind of like,
He's conflicted.
yeah.
Okay.
And then the following year they go to Vegas or wherever, but we'll just say Vegas for the sake of the argument. And then it's raw. We'll have night one, Cody versus Punk, and then night
Mm.
two, Rock versus Roman.
Part of me really wants Rock to go full Hollywood Rock and start cutting into these ungrateful jabroni marks, but I think your idea is probably better.
Now, what would be really funny is if he did go Hollywood Rock and
Just leave.
cost Cody.
Okay, you know what? I like that one better. Let's do that.
That's the best option.
Rock just
Can you
joins Bloodline.
imagine the meltdown?
Oh my god, it would be hilarious though. Not gonna lie.
Oh, it would be great. Like, it would be a memory that I would never forget. But for the sake of pissing off, like, the entire audience, I don't know that that's worth it.
Yeah, these crazy people might storm the ring, man. I don't want
Yeah.
them hurting Rock.
Well, I know you are a huge Rock fan. He's, what, your favorite all time?
Yeah, number one.
So I know you are hurt about this whole thing and most
Yeah, man.
disliked YouTube video of all time. You got any final thoughts on what you think for Mania or what you think about these Cody jabronis?
Nah, we pretty much said everything we can say on this podcast. I mean, I can't unleash like I want to unleash, but yeah, you Cody fans are jabroni marks, and I do not like you guys. You guys make me dislike Cody, and I hope we get Rock versus Roman just in spite of you guys.
I think just say to you Cody fans. And then I just close the show. But anyways, I don't know. Thursday is going to be interesting.
Yeah, I'll be there. I won't be there in Vegas, but I'll be watching from my house.
And to fuel the reason they would be in Vegas for that, I guess.
Mm.
I mean, they just built that Allegiant Stadium like a couple years ago.
They went there for SummerSlam. It's a beautiful stadium. I can see
Oh,
that
did
being
they?
WrestleMania. Yeah, they did. That was Rock versus Cena, I think, happened at Allegiant Stadium.
Oh. Well, wait a minute. Hold on. Rock versus Cena. You mean Roman versus Cena?
Oh shoot, yeah, Roman. I'm sorry, man, it's late. Yeah, Roman
No, you're
versus
good.
Cena. Was that at Money in the Bank or was that SummerSlam? I
I
think that might have
think
been Money in the Bank because that was their first show back, wasn't it?
Cena returned at Money in the Bank, but they had their
Okay.
match at SummerSlam.
Was that SummerSlam? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, they
Correct me
went to
if
get.
I'm wrong. Isn't 41 going to be in like Minneapolis?
Did they announce that? I think it was just
I
rumors. I don't think nothing's been announced, has it?
Oh, let me check on that real quick. I thought they announced that it was going to be in Minneapolis, and
They may
then,
have.
or maybe that was SummerSlam. I'm not sure. Uh,
Uh,
this says prediction, so I don't
ah,
know that that's locked for sure. It was a Fightful report, so it's not
I got you.
locked in per se. So it could be Vegas.
Could be Vegas. Let's be honest. Vegas is a better location than Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Well, obviously, especially because the Minneapolis stadium is, I think, a lot older. Well, no. They got a new stadium recently.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going off on tangents. But the road to WrestleMania is very interesting, and we will visit that in a later episode this week. But we finally got some of this stuff out of the way. We're trying to get caught up. We're trying to stay on cue as we should. That was a goal for us this year, was to try and meet our recording schedule. I don't know if we're holding up to that one so far.
Well, we're trying, ladies and gentlemen. We're trying to catch up.
Well, anyways, we will be back later this week, reviewing Collision, Raw, Dynamite, and the ensuing results of the, what do they call that? Just like the live WrestleMania preview? Is that it?
Yes. Press conference preview, but they did say Rock will be there, Roman will be there. They just haven't informed us what they are going to be doing.
Interesting. You see they were charging $2,500 a seat to be at that, or not base pay, but you could be there for $2,500 a seat and like meet some of the wrestlers and get access to the press conference.
Oh yeah, they're letting in regular fans. So this could go bad, Mike.
Oh,
this
God.
could go really bad if they let in these jabroni Cody Marks into this press conference. They could start hijacking this whole entire moment. Like, that's what they want to do. They just want to go there just to boo everything that Rock and Roman do. Like, they have no lives. Like, go try to get laid. What are you guys doing there?
Well, I mean, they want to live through the yes movement again, but that's something that can't be. You can't just
outside.
touch some grass.
Yeah, that's what they need.
But I feel like they want to manufacture the yes movement. And I'm not even talking about WWE necessarily. I'm talking about the fans to a point where it's like, you can't manufacture something like that. Like, it has to be genuine.
Yeah, the jabroni Marks want the prophecy to be fulfilled. Because WrestleMania 10 had the 3 guys involved in the title match: Lex, Brett, Yokozuna. WrestleMania 20 had Chris Benoit, Triple H, Shawn Michaels involved in the world title program. WrestleMania 30 had the Evolution guys and Daniel Bryan, or the Yes Movement, how you were saying. So WrestleMania 40, they want the triple threat match. That's what they want. So they created this online controversy and made a big deal out of a stare down. I hate Cody fans.
I just feel like it weighs it down a little bit. But anyways, it's getting late, ladies and gentlemen, so we're gonna go ahead and close it up. Make sure you follow us on our social medias at ScoopSlam Pod. That is on Instagram, Twitter, where we mainly upload. So we got exclusive updates, stuff like that. Some exclusive photos that we got from Royal Rumble. Might even throw up the Titus picture we took. And if you just want to be in tune with when we're going to upload, make sure to follow us there. Stay tuned in the upcoming episodes. We have a new sponsor that I can't announce just yet, but it's coming soon. Okay. And I am excited about it. It's for all you sports fans, even if you're not necessarily there's lots of sports, maybe not wrestling, but college football, baseball, basketball. Stay tuned for that. And make sure to tune into the wrestling this week. We're on the road to WrestleMania. It's going to be interesting. We'll be back with some AEW content if that's your thing later this week. But anyways, thank you for listening. Hope you had a good one, and stay safe.